Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter Podcast. And today is going to be my video of the NBA playoffs. The play-in games will be beginning tomorrow, and so I'm going to go through all the games from the play-in rounds to round one, round two, whatever. I'm gonna go from the play-in games all the way to the NBA championship. I'm gonna kind of do this really mostly pretty similar to how I did the NCAA basketball one. Maybe, I don't know. I guess I'll make it up as I go. I guess, but obviously NBA playoffs for every series except for the play-in games. It'll be a 7-game series, so we'll predict like how many games it'll take for whichever team I pick to actually win. Um, but we're gonna start with all the play-in games. So we have the first one here. I'm gonna do the 7-8 game later. We're starting on the west side. I'll just start with the whole west side, and I'll just go to the east after. Because I don't feel like going back and forth multiple times. It'd take just way too long. By the way, if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead. It'll be right down below. Like, share, subscribe, do it all. We really appreciate it. We'll probably have Stravinsky coming back on the podcast at some point. Whenever me and him can ever get a day off where both of us actually can do an episode, that'll be probably when. But the thing is, we don't ever really, because obviously with Stravinsky, he lives over in Arizona and I live in Michigan, and there's a 3 hour difference currently between the two, which makes it very difficult for us to get episodes going. Because as much as it might work for Jacob at about, oh, let's say like, yeah, 8 o'clock or maybe even 7, yeah, over here that's going to be like 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12 at night. So it makes it very difficult for us to get a time where both of us are, good to go. Um, and we can just do it, and we can do the episode, even though he's 3 hours behind me, and or yeah, he's 3 hours. No, he's 3 hours ahead of me. Yeah, even though I'm 3 hours ahead of him, my math is off. But even though I'm 3 hours behind him, and he's 3 hours ahead of me, still, it's very difficult to get a time, like a good time for us to really ever get an episode in time. Because, yeah, it might be good for me at night. He might still be working, but he gets off of work, and then I'm like almost ready to go to bed. So that's really been part of the problem. Anyways, moving on, we got some playing games to pick. We got some NBA playoffs to discuss. So let's start from the very beginning here. We'll go to the 10-9 playing game on the west side. I'm just going to be frank right now. I have not paid much attention to the NBA. I have been watching a lot of NCAA basketball, and I've been picking up now the MLB as that is officially started. If you want to see my predictions for like all the MLB teams and how I think they'll do this year, or what they'll kind of do more this year, you can go to those two videos. They'll be in the they're on the have been uploaded, both the AL and NL videos. If you want to check those out, go ahead. Um, but I have not paid a lot of attention to the NBA, mostly because I haven't really had the time to pay attention to the NBA. However, the Lakers are not in the playoffs. No LeBron. I think a lot of people are happy with that. I am, because if you guys don't know, I am not the biggest LeBron fan. No, I don't like Giannis either, but the thing about Giannis, like, it's not the person that I hate. Like, I don't hate Giannis as a person. As a person, he's a great guy. I mean, I don't know of anything that Giannis does that like is beyond annoying. LeBron, I think that goes without saying. The stuff that he does can be incredibly annoying, but Giannis as a person, I don't mind Giannis as a person. I just hate him as a player, and I also hate the Bucks. So that it works both ways. But anyways, we're gonna start this one off. I have not been paying nearly as much attention to the NBA as the other sports I've been watching, so I don't really know like where these teams are with health. I know like a little bit because I had a fantasy basketball team that I kind of paid attention to. I half forgot like half the year. Um, so we're gonna start with the first game here, and we got the San Antonio Spurs and the New Orleans Pelicans. Well, actually, I just saw this. If you want to watch like a channel, or if you want to watch something where people already know a lot more about the NBA than certainly I would. I mean, obviously, Serbinsky, most of you probably know, but Jacob Serbinsky, he's very good with the NBA. He pays a lot of attention to it. So he knows way more probably about this than I do. But if you're really looking for somebody who I know he watches a lot of NBA basketball, he knows a lot about like the history, even current stuff. He pays a ton of attention to the NBA. I would check out Outside the Playbook. It's a couple of good some friends of mine who actually they go to my church. But they know a lot. But he knows a lot about the NBA. He has a YouTube channel. I'll link his YouTube channel and his Spotify to this video because he has a Spotify of which he just does audio clips. He does audio clips and goes on for the NBA for a while. So if you want to see those videos, if you want to check that out, I'll have that link down below. But anyways, let's get the first one going here. We got San Antonio Spurs and the New Orleans Pelicans. This one's going to be in New Orleans as they ended up with the 9 seed. As far as I know, Zion is still not playing. Both of these teams are not good. I mean, the Spurs have DeJounte Murray. I don't know which way you pronounce it. But other than that, for the Spurs, I know nothing else of what they have. The Pelicans, they have Josh Hart and CJ McCollum. Other than that, I don't know of anything else they have either. So, I mean, I don't think either of these teams will make it. If they end up winning this one, I don't think they'll get past the next game because they have to win 2 to get into the actual playoffs itself. Why to do that? I'm picking the Pelicans though to win. These are only 1-game series. These are only 1 games. All these playing games. These are not like 2-3 game series. It doesn't work like that. But I'm taking the Pelicans. I guess neither of these teams are any good. But I'm going to go with New Orleans because I really don't know. And this game is going to be a lot better. We have the LA Clippers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves, this is a team that honestly I think last year could have been even because I know a little bit about the NBA. Okay, guys, the Timberwolves, they could have been honestly I think a lot better last year. And I thought they had a very good chance at the playoffs, and they did not play well. And they major league struggled for pretty much the entire year, and they never found their stride. This year, though, they are the 7 seed, and of course, 7, 8 seeds are both up for grabs in the play-in. So they'll be playing the Clippers at home for the 7 seed. The loser goes to play the winner of the 9-10. So in my scenario, the loser would play the Pelicans. I think this is going to be a really good game. LA, of course, the Clippers, they're missing Kawhi Leonard still, and even Paul George. I mean, I think he's been decent since coming back, I think. I think his first game was good, and I have no idea what else he has done since that point. But obviously, the Clippers are going to sorely miss Kawhi Leonard. As of course he is still not healthy. Of course they have Robert Covington as well. I mean their team is decent, but I mean without a healthy Kawhi Leonard, I think this team is really going to have a hard time. If Paul George plays well, I'm sure. Yeah, and they have Norman Powell too. So the Clippers team is decent and it is solid, and I certainly could see the Clippers ending up winning this game and moving on to play the Grizzlies. But I think this Timberwolves team, I like the Timberwolves team. I mean, D'Angelo Russell, I know he has not played well this year, as far as I know. I don't think he has been that great this year. Karl Anthony Towns, that's a very good player, and Anthony Edwards, we know that guy is going to be a stud, and he's already showing that he has massive amounts of talent. So, I mean, I like the Timberwolves team. They have good players. They have guys who can make plays, and so when you have something like that, when you have good players who can step up and make that play when you need to, and they also have Patrick Beverley. I forgot he was on their team. Uh, this team has a nice. They have some nice pieces. And now, do I think they'll get much farther in the next round? No, because this team's sitting there. But this is a team I think that could certainly beat the Clippers. Which, in this case, this would send the Clippers to the 8 seed game, of which they had played the Pelicans, and since they're the 8 seed, they would end up being the home team in this scenario, playing the Pelicans. This is where I'd take the Clippers to win. I would take them to move on. They would knock out the Pelicans, and they would become the 8 seed in the first round, and they would take on the Phoenix Suns, which ironically would be a rematch from the Western Conference Finals of last year. And so let's just start with that one. The LA Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix has been incredible this season. I mean, they have had an outstanding year. Obviously, best record in the NBA at 64-18. That's a really good record, guys. And for a good amount of that, time, they did not have Chris Paul. I don't even know if they have. I still don't think they have Chris Paul. I'm not actually sure. But of course, the Suns, their team is DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Chris Paul is a big part of that team. That's their big three, and they play incredibly well. And yes, Paul George is back, I think, for the Suns. So they are fully healthy as far as I know. As I said, as far as I know, because I really have no idea if they're fully healthy or not. Yeah, it looks like it. But this is a Suns team that pretty much from last year is more or less the same, and they're at full strength. And if they can stay that way, I think this could be very, very ugly for really anyone who gets stuck playing them. I think this is going to be an easy one for the Clippers. I'm sorry, not for the Clippers. For the Suns. I will give the Clippers at least one game. I'll give them one. I'll say that okay, that's not going to work. I'll say that the Clippers end up winning one game here. But I'll take the Suns in 5. And I'll move them on to the semifinals, taking on the winner of the game down below, being the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. This will be another really fun game. So this is going to be a really good series. The Utah Jazz, this is Donovan Mitchell, and then just nothing else as far as I know. Again, I have not paid much attention to the NBA. Or, I'm sorry, they have Rudy Gobert. What am I doing? But this is a team that really... Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, they have a couple decent players. The Jazz do. And then the Dallas Mavericks, they're just Luka Doncic. And, we know he's a hothead. He gets a lot of texts. He got bailed out when the NBA decided not to... enforced the last one. They rescinded it, and so he didn't get suspended for their last game. Didn't matter. They still got the 4 seed. But this Dallas team, I do like it. Obviously, Luka Doncic can simply carry a team all by himself. You also got Spencer Dinwiddie, Davis Bertans, Jalen Brunson, Trey Burke, Reggie Bullock, Tim Hardaway. They have some nice players. But their team is Luka Doncic. If Doncic does not play well, they are really going to struggle in this series. And so really that's going to be the matchup to watch. It's going to be Luka Doncic versus Donovan Mitchell. And that is going to be an incredible matchup. That because really, honestly, that's likely the matchup that you're going to see, and that will be so much fun to see. But I'm gonna give the edge to Luka. I'm gonna take Doncic to move on to knock off the Jazz. I'm gonna say in 7 games because that's just how good of a series that this is gonna be. Um, so this is gonna be really good. But I'm going to give the edge to Dallas. All right, that's how I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna give the edge to the Dallas Mavericks. Gonna be a very fun series, but I think that the Mavericks will just eke this one. That the Mavericks will just eke this one out. They'll knock off. Yeah, let's see. Sorry guys, I'm really like I was not really prepared for this at all. But I'm going to give the edge to Dallas here. They knock off the Utah Jazz in 7. They'll be one of the more fun series in this round of playoffs. Then we have the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors have really struggled towards the end of the year here. They have not really played well, but this team Golden State, Golden State guys, this team is absolutely dangerous. This team is going to give I think this team could give the Nuggets nightmares, and really anyone they play, they will give nightmares. But of course, Steph Curry. I mean, who cares about Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala? I mean, really, you got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And Klay Thompson, he hasn't been really healthy, but he has come back and he has really honestly played pretty well for the Warriors. He has picked it up. Jordan Poole has been incredible for Golden State. Juan Toscano Anderson coming off the bench. Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman. I mean, as I said earlier, Draymond Green's okay. Kevon Looney, Moses Moody. I think did he move up from the G League, or is he still in the G League? Oh no, they brought him up. So Moses Moody might play a little bit. Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, there's players up the yin yang for Golden State. Otto Porter Jr. I mean, this team is absolutely loaded, and they have not played well towards the end of the year. They kind of struggled, but they finished off the year with 5 straight wins, which that's very good for anyone. And that's really an ideal way to end your regular season, going into the playoffs, is winning a bunch of games in a row and looking pretty good. As for the Denver Nuggets, this is a team that has got a lot of good players in and of itself, which is why this will be, I think, a very good series. Obviously, Nikola Jokic, who is just unbelievable. Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray. I think he's healthy. Is he? Well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't see him anywhere, so maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, have not paid a lot of attention, so I don't know if Murray's healthy or not. But if he is healthy, then that will give the Nuggets a huge boost. Can I get the roster? No, it won't give me the roster. Okay. But Denver, this is going to be very fun. I think the Warriors and the Nuggets, this will be another really good series. I'm going to give the edge to Golden State. I will take them to move on in this one. And I'll have them winning in, I'm going to say 6. Oops. Because I think they very well, it could go to 7, but I'm going to take Golden State to pull this one off in 6 and just eke out the win here. Let me do that. There we go. But I could see it going to 7, but I'm going to take Golden State in 6. Just because of the way they've been playing as of late, winning a couple games in a row towards the end, they've looked pretty good. Then we got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies. This Memphis team they've been something else. I mean, they have been playing out of their minds this year. They had an incredible stretch throughout the season, and they've been really stinking good. I mean, this Grizzlies team, Steven Adams, you got at center, you got Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark, Jarrett Culver. I don't know how much he plays, but they have Jarrett Culver. And obviously, John Moran and Jaren Jackson are two big time components for this team. I mean, they got a really young team. This is a very young team. They don't have actually, as I'm looking at their entire roster, they don't have a single guy over 28 years old. That's a young team, guys. That's a very young team, and they're already a 2 seed in the West. That's good. That's really good. And so I think this is going to be this could be interesting. I think the Timberwolves would at least get a 1, but this Memphis team, they mean, I have not seen a team that has been able to really. I mean, I think the Timberwolves definitely could maybe make it 6, but this Grizzlies team is playing so well right now, and it's been very impressive to see them. Obviously, John Morant has been a huge reason for that. And then you got Jaren Jackson, and you got also Brandon Clark, and you have Jalen Brunson, who's been playing pretty well, and Dylan Brooks, and so there's a lot of guys that have really contributed to the fact that this team is 56-26 and the 2 seed, which still mind boggles me that they have been playing that well. Did they not have Jalen Brunson? I thought they did. No, I don't see him. Hmm. Well, this Grizzlies team, incredible team. I think this is gonna be. I think they move on and they get to create what will be an awesome matchup right there at the 2-3. Good luck picking that series. And now we go to the top. We have the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Phoenix Suns. Once again, this should be really good. Luka Doncic is capable of carrying anybody anywhere, and I think he'll make it interesting for the Phoenix Suns. I think the Suns will. I think Dallas can win too, but I could see it ending in 5. But I'm gonna give Dallas 2 because I'm gonna give respect to Luka Doncic. He's a very good player, and he never goes down without a fight. And they do have nice surrounding pieces around him. It's really a one man crew, but Luka is Luka, and I'm gonna give I'm gonna give it 1. I could see it going maybe to 6, but I think it's gonna be 1 honestly. Um, this Suns team, there's just way too much firepower for Dallas to really be able to pull off the upset. It would be impressive, but it's gonna take more than just Luka scoring 50 or 60 a game to knock off the Suns. I don't think that's gonna be possible for Dallas. I don't think they're gonna be able to just have Luka. I mean, Luka's gonna be Luka. He's going to have an incredible game, but you have to have somebody else help him. If you don't, you're gonna have some problems. And I think that's what's going to end up being their demise. I think they lose this one in 5. Golden State, Memphis. So this is automatically going to be a 7-game series. The question is, who in the world is going to win it? Because it's going to be absolute chaos. I think both of these teams are going to play incredible. It's going to be a very good series to watch. Golden State, as I said, their team is absolutely loaded, and Memphis is incredibly young, with their oldest player being 28 years old. So that only just means they're going to get even better, which is terrifying. So Memphis, I mean, this is gonna go one of two ways. Either the young guys continue to just play out of their minds and they move on to take on the Suns, or because you could go one of two ways here. You could say that the veterans of Golden State and the experience knocks out the Grizzlies and gets to the finals to play the Suns, or that the young Grizzlies continue to just play well and keep playing hard and just be a very good team and get to the finals to play the Suns. But yeah, I think either way, whoever wins this is going to be a 7-game series. I think it's going to come down to the last game. I forgot I can't do that. It's going to come down to the last game, and it's going to be really hard for me to choose either one. But I'm going to take Golden State. I mean, I think Golden State. I'm going to go with the Warriors simply because this is a Golden State team that has done it before, and Steph Curry, he's unbelievable. And he's been in these scenarios before. John Morant, he is an incredible player. And I think honestly it's 50-50. You could put either team in there, and I don't think you would be wrong. I really don't. I think you could put in the Grizzlies. You could give your own explanation for why you think that the Grizzlies would be in the the Western Conference Finals playing the Suns, and I'd tell you you're right. Or you could do what I'm doing and give a reason for why the Warriors would make it, and I'd say again you're right. I don't think whichever way you go here that you're wrong. But Golden State, I just think they have some nice bench players with Jordan Poole and Juan Toscano Anderson, Otto Porter Jr. Of course, Wiggins already is starting for the Warriors. I think their bench players will beat the Grizzly bench players. And I think that the Warriors bench is really what's going to carry them to the last round. But again, Memphis could just as easily win, just like the Warriors, which creates a really interesting Western Conference Finals between Phoenix and Golden State. Warriors, obviously, they're looking to get back to the finals, or they haven't been in some time. They lost in the play-in game last year to the Lakers, and they're looking to get back to the finals and win it again like they did in their days with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson when they were all healthy. Those were terrifying days. Those were also the days that the Warriors would play the Cavs every year. Anyway, now we have the Suns and the Warriors. Well, I should put that honestly the other way. But this should be really good. I think the Warriors, they're gonna give the Suns a fight. I think this is gonna be. It could go 6, it could go 7, but in the end, I'm going to be taking the Suns. I'm taking them to move on to the NBA Finals. I'm gonna take this in a 7. No, I'll take it in 6 games. No, 7. I'll take this in 7. Because Golden State, they're going to be playing their minds out. I mean, I think Golden State, if it gets to a game 6, I think the Warriors take it at home and they send it to Phoenix, and I think the Suns can win it at home. I think in their last game, I think the Suns, they can definitely take home a game 7 home game and head on to the NBA Finals, of where they'd play whoever will represent the East, which we will find out because that's what we're doing next. And so since I finally just did all of the West, now we're going to do all of the East. And so we're going to start with the first play-in game being the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. And I am not a big Hornets fan. They have a couple decent players, but Atlanta, this is a deep team with a lot of good talent, and I don't think there's going to be. I think the Hornets are going to have a hard time with Atlanta's extensive offense with Trae Young and everyone else out there. It's just going to be too much, I think, for the Hornets to deal with, especially in Atlanta. I take the Hawks to knock out the Hornets. And then we go to the other play-in game, the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Explain to me how the Brooklyn Nets are in a play-in game. That really is hard to believe, honestly, to me. But Cavs, they've had a really good season. Really impressed by the Cavs. I don't like the Cavs, but very impressed by them. Honestly, the way that they've been playing. Obviously, this is a big man heavy team with Jared Allen and Lauri Markkanen, Kevin Love, and Oh, somebody else of which Evan Mobley, duh. Evan Mobley, all there, and those are all big guys, and somehow they find playing time for all of them. I don't know how that works, but it does. And you have Colin Sexton and Darius Garland up front, so they have some. Don't they have? I feel like they have Karis LeVert too. I feel like they traded for him. Maybe they, no, somebody traded for him. I forget who. Anyway, um, in the Cavs, this is a really good team overall. And they've been. No one thought this would gel together very well, and surprisingly, it has. But in Brooklyn, I can't take the Cavs. I really can't. I'm taking the Nets easily. I mean, this is still a team that does not have. I mean, they don't have James Harden, of course. They traded him away, and they got themselves an overloaded crew. I think they fleeced the Sixers major league, as they gave away James Harden and Paul George, and then ended up getting, let's just get Ben Simmons, who hasn't come back yet. I don't know if he ever will, but they got Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond and Seth Curry, and let's just get two other first round picks while we're at it. So I think I think the Sixers got major league fleeced in that deal, but that's just me. And with that, the Cavs will move on. The Cavs will drop to the 8 seed game, where they will play the Hawks. And this is going to be an all-out war. Cavs, this is a really big man team. I mean, they played well for a good amount of the season. I don't, as of lately, they have really struggled. They've been 3-7 in their last 10 games. But the Cavs, I mean, really the problem for Cleveland is just that they have so many big men. Oh yes, and they do have Karis LeVert. They did trade from. Okay, but I mean, they're really their only like backcourt guy, or not backcourt guys, like the guys beyond the arc you're going to see are Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Colin Sexton, and Rajon Rondo. Oh, and Isaac Okoro, and then that's it. Other than that, you're gonna see Kevin Love, Lauri Markkanen, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. I mean, I think really the Cavs team is all big men, and so it makes it hard. Like you can play through your big men easily, but if you don't have something from beyond the arc to counteract, it makes it kind of difficult. And Garland and Sexton are good, but Atlanta, this is a good offensive team, and they have Bogdanovich, Campella, John Collins, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter. Knox doesn't play that much, I don't think. Nyeko Kongwu, Lou Williams, Trae Young, of course. This is an offensive team. And honestly, I think this will be a kind of game where both teams are just going to try and outscore each other. And it is in Cleveland, and I think it definitely could go the Cavs' way. But I'm going to take Atlanta to. I don't know if this is really that surprising, but I'm taking Atlanta to become the 8th seed. They knock out the Cavs, they become the 8th seed, and they go up against the Miami Heat in the first round, who is weirdly enough the 1 seed. But I think it should be a really good game. But I think Atlanta. They have a little more probably athleticism than the Cavs do, and I think that's what will pull the Hawks ahead and move them on to the first round, of which they will play the Miami Heat in the first round, who's weirdly the 1 seed. This was a team I think that was a 6 last year and got swept by the Bucks. Was it? Yeah, they got because they upset the Bucks and and then lost to the Lakers over in Orlando, and then the Bucks just smothered them in the next round, and out of the 1 seed. How'd that come around? Who the heck knows? But the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks, Kyle Lowry, of course, with Miami now, as he has left the Raptors. And then Miami, of course, still has Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler still, Tyler Hero, Markieff Morris is with them, Duncan Robinson, Victor Oladipo. I don't even know if he's healthy. Um, Dwayne Dedmon, he probably doesn't get that much time. But this is a good Miami team. And I think once again, we're going to see a lot of just offense. This is going to be an all offense series. I don't think you're going to see a crap ton of, I don't think you'll really see all that much of defense in this. And I think Atlanta is definitely capable. I think this is, by the way, I think this is the side of which is going to be absolute chaos. But I don't think the Hawks will be quite able to outscore Miami enough. But I think this is going to be definitely an interesting series. I'm picking it to go to actually 7. I think the Hawks can score enough points to keep going back and forth with Miami. But I think the Heat in the Game 7 at home, I think they can sneak it out. They'll knock off the Hawks and they'll move on to the semifinals. They'll take on the winner of the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers. Which Toronto, both of these teams, honestly, are the 76ers. They decided, Philly, they need to figure out what they need to do with Ben Simmons. The guy was tearing apart their team. He was more of a distraction than he was anything else, and it was not helping them whatsoever. And so they need to get rid of him as soon as possible. And well, they ended up doing that, and that's a really smart move by Philly to get him off the team, get rid of him, and try and get somebody else. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of James Harden either, but I'm not the biggest fan of James Harden really much either. But I'll take that over a guy who is complaining about money and not getting paid enough and continues to sit out every game and just hurts your team and doesn't do anything else. And so I think it was really smart by the Sixers to make the trade, but what they did with the trade, I think is a little bit much, because they gave up a ton, and I mean a ton of money, a ton of resources to go and get James Harden, who honestly I don't think is that much different from Ben Simmons. He's more of the same kind of person. So, I think the Sixers, they do have a nice team. Joel Embiid obviously is a key part to this team with now James Harden, and they do have Tobias Harris. I don't think he's been that good this year. Oh no, his stats seem to say otherwise. But they have obviously Harden, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, DeAndre Jordan comes off the bench for them. Matisse Thybulle's a decent player. Tyrese Maxey. I don't think Millsap gets any playing time. They have decent players. The Raptors, they have a really good team too. And so, obviously, Precious Achiuwa, Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher, Svi Mikhailov. Oh, that's funny. Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent, Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet's had a really good year for the Raptors. And this is a young team too, OJ Anunoby. So this is a young team too. Both teams have some young players. They have some veteran players. I think it's going to go back and forth. It will go, I think, also to 7 games. And again, it's going to be really hard to pick either one of these teams. I think either one of them can win. The Raptors don't have. I'm gonna take Philly. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna take Philly in 7 games. Unfortunately for the Raptors, there is no Kawhi Leonard to rattle it around the rim and knock him off in the last seconds of the game of the last game. But the Sixers, I think they move on. I think the Raptors could as well, but I'm gonna take Philly to knock off Toronto in 7 and move on to the next round to take on the Miami Heat. Chicago Bulls and Milwaukee Bucks. Gal, this is a series I do not want to see. Mostly because, I mean, it's going to be a great series. This is probably another series that'll go to 7 games. But, gal, I hate both teams. I am not a Bulls fan, and I absolutely despise the Bucks. Can't stand either one of these teams. I hate the Bucks more so than I hate the Bulls, but I don't like the Bulls either. I've never been a Bulls fan. Um, but the Bulls, they major league tried to infuse talent into their team during their off season, as they threw together whatever star they could and just said, "You're on the team." And so of course they ended up with Lonzo Ball, and Ayo Dosunmu's been playing actually pretty well for him coming off the bench. Derek Jones, that's another bench player for him, I'm pretty sure. Kobe White plays for him. You got, where's their? I don't even see him on here. What the heck? Don't they? No. Well, they have Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso comes from. DeMar DeRozan, he has had an incredible season this year. Zach LaVine has been really good for him. There he is. Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu, as I said, and Derek Jones. So they have plenty of guys who can step in, can make plays, and really can make things happen. This is a really good Bulls team. They've struggled down the stretch. They have not played well. I don't know if Lonzo Ball is back from just yet. I know he was hurt for a while. I don't know if he has come back healthy as of yet. I don't think he has. I don't see him in any of the starting lineups, so I don't think he is. And then for the Bucks, obviously Giannis and Lonzo Ball's out for the year. Okay, well that answers my question there. So no Lonzo Ball for the Bulls, and then for the Milwaukee Bucks, well, I mean, you have Giannis. No one likes Grayson Allen, but he's on the team. Drew Holiday, Serge Ibaka, Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis. Don't know if Nora gets a lot of playing time. It's going to be a good series. I think this is one that the Bulls have a good chance of winning just because of the way DeMar DeRozan has been playing. But I'm taking the Bucks. As much as I hate to take the Bucks, I don't like either team, so I guess I lose either way. But I'm taking the Bucks in 7. This is going to be a fun series to watch between two teams that obviously don't like each other because they actually are in the same division anyway. Neither of these teams like each other. I think it'll be a 7-game series. I think the Bucks, though, will be the team that moves on and gets to the second round. Gets to the Eastern Conference semis. And then we have the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. It's really hard to pick this game, too, because we've seen, I'm pretty sure last year we saw Boston play Brooklyn, and it did not go well. Boston this year, though, they've been playing really, honestly, they've been really good with, obviously, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown are big-time key parts of the team. Robert Williams, I think, has been pretty good for them. They have Al Horford, but I don't think he really does anything ever for them. But really, the Celtics team, it all surrounds mostly just around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And they do have Williams and Horford and Marcus Smart and Grant Williams, Bruno Fernando, I'm sorry. Dennis Schroeder. They traded away Schroeder, didn't they? Yeah, he went to the Rockets. But Peyton Pritchard, as well as Peyton Pritchard. So the Celtics team is very good. I think once again we'll have a 7-game series. I don't think any of these series will be blowouts in the first round. I think every single one of them is going to be very good. But I have one thing to say. about the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant. KD. This guy, this guy, he is unguardable. I'm sorry, I don't care what you say. The man is unbelievable. And Ben Simmons is going to be having his NBA debut with the Brooklyn Nets during sometime, they say, during the first round. So assuming they beat the Cavs and they get to this game against this series against the Celtics, I think it'll be as like you really look at the record. Like this is a 7 seed. Like look at this. This is a 7 seed. This is technically the 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're only 7 games behind it too. This is going to be a chaotic side. And so I think this is going to be an interesting series. But Ben Simmons comes in. He obviously doesn't know how to shoot, but he can. But he's very athletic, and he honestly. But he obviously doesn't know how to shoot. But we all know that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are going to be the guys doing the shooting. Depending on how Ben Simmons plays, that's really going to dictate the way this series goes, assuming he even comes back. But let me put it this way. Ben Simmons comes back, the Nets aren't winning. But if they do, I have them moving on. I think Brooklyn, I think they... I think the Nets take care of business. I think it's that. I think the Nets take care of business here. No, I think it's whatever. I think the Nets take care of business. They knock off the Celtics. They pull off a shocking upset and create a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals. Was it the Eastern Conference Finals? No, it was the semis. It's going to be the semis again. No, yeah, because it was the semis last year. Because then they played the Hawks, right? Or they played the Hawks first. No, I didn't. No, yeah, I was right before. And it creates a rematch in the playoffs between the Bucks and the Nets yet again. And I think this is going to be once again a really good series. Between those two, but we'll get to that when we do. I think the Nets pull this off against the Celtics in 7 games. I doubt this will all happen because I'm picking every series to end in 7, which is very unlikely, but that's how I have it. And then we have the Miami Heat taking on the Philly 76ers. The Sixers got past the Raptors. But this is a Sixer team that I don't think really works very well. And honestly, I would be more tempted to take the Raptors, but I think the Sixers being playoff time, I think Embiid will make enough plays to get him here. But I don't think this is a series that Philly is going to be able to win. I think Miami, they were able to squeeze past the Hawks in what would be an offensive showdown pretty much every game. But I think Miami gets this one done in 5. I think they pull it together. They'll be back in Miami for that 5th game. But I think the Heat get it done in 5 games. They knock off the Sixers. And they go to the conference finals, of which they will play the winner of the Bucks and the wrong spot. Of where they'll take on the winner of the Bucks and the Nets. And at this point, I would say that probably Ben Simmons will be back for the Nets. And in that case, it's nothing about Ben Simmons. It's just the guy's not a shooter, and it takes away one more shooter and one more guy that can get points up on the board for Brooklyn. I've never really liked Ben Simmons. If he ever developed a shot, he would be devastating, but he doesn't have a shot. And so I think this is a series of where Kevin Durant's going to put everything into this. And I think once again he'll make it interesting, but I got the Bucks. I think the Bucks do it. I don't like how this is pointing to another series between those two, but it might happen again. But the Bucks, they have the core, I think, to knock off Brooklyn. Uh, I think that's the Nets. Their team has never really worked out, and that's what makes it very tough for me to take Brooklyn because their team just never has gelled well. Now, if they do end up, if the Nets end up winning this series, I'd be geeked. But I'm taking the Bucks to win this in six. I don't think the Nets can get to seven. They could, but I think it ends in six, and the Bucks move on to take on the Heat. This will be the third straight season that the Heat and the Bucks have played each other in the in the playoffs, in the NBA playoffs. And I think this is going to be really fun. Miami's team, I think this is going to be a very fun series. I'm going to honestly take Miami. I think they had a close series with Atlanta, but I think they continue to play well. I think they're gonna win this one in seven. I think it'll be a very fun series, but I'm gonna take the Heat. This is kind of homer pick, but I'm taking Miami to knock off the Milwaukee Bucks and move on to the NBA Finals to make what I think that this will be a very very fun NBA Finals between the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat. And I really think that if this is really the case, if this actually happens, man, this would be so much fun to see. Really, I think this would be a ton of fun to watch these two go head to head um, in the NBA Finals. But here we are, Miami Heat, Phoenix Suns. Who wins this one? I think it's going to be all out war in this series. Obviously, Phoenix will get home honors since they are the best, since they have the best record in the NBA. I think the Heat will give them a good fight. They'll take Phoenix to seven, and Jacob Stravinsky is gonna love to hear me say this, but I think Phoenix, they got denied last year. Not this time. The Phoenix Suns they have been so good all year long, and there you go. The Phoenix Suns, your NBA champions. I think that will be an incredible series, and I think the Heat very well could end up winning it just as much as the Suns. But this is going to be a fun series, no matter what. And I take Phoenix really to just knock off the Heat and take home the NBA Finals for themselves. And that is it for my predictions for the NBA playoffs. Obviously, playing games start tomorrow. I'll probably get like half of it wrong already. And so I'm really curious to see how these playoffs go. A lot of these series I think will be very fun. The East is gonna be pure chaos to see. I could see the Heat losing right off the bat. I could see the Bucks losing right off the bat. I mean, who knows? But this is gonna be a very fun series to see. A very fun playoffs really to see, and anything could happen over in the East. I think the West is a bit more of a surefire thing than the East, but even the West, there's some really good teams over there and some really fun matchups to see. And starts tomorrow with some playing games between it's the West side. No, it's the 7-8 game. So it'll be the LA Clippers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. And other than that, then you have the 9-10 games on Wednesday night, and then Friday night you have the 8 seed games between the winners of the 9-10 games and the losers of the 7-8 games. And then Saturday will officially start the really technically the NBA playoffs. So that is it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week I don't know what we'll have next week. But next week we'll have something. I'll probably write out what the heck it'll be. I don't think it'll be NBA stuff because the NBA will have pretty much just started by then. Maybe it'll be an NBA video going over the play-in. No, yeah, that's what that'll be. So I have a video of reviewing the NBA play-in games next week. There'll be like only one game that's happened in all of the other series. So mostly that'll be just me talking about all the play-in games and how they all went for each team. Other than that, it's not going to be much different. And other than that, the NFL video, my NFL mock draft, that won't be coming out until another for at least for another 2 weeks. Because in 2 weeks, the the NFL draft starts on Thursday. It's gonna be 2 weeks from Thursday. So 2 weeks from today, on April 25th, that'll be my video of the NFL mock draft. Other than that, I don't know what else I'm gonna be doing on Monday, but I guess I'll find out then. So that's it for me, everybody. Until next time, adios, everyone.